When you go to a massive stadium concert or you turn into a championship game, there is this deeply ingrained expectation of authenticity.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you see the sweat on the performer's face, you hear the roar of the crowd, and your brain just accepts the narrative. We tell ourselves, this is real, this is organic, human greatness happening right in front of me.
Right, because you're describing the emotional transaction we've been conditioned to expect for decades. I mean, we desperately want to believe in the singular genius,
Yeah, exactly.
that solitary hero who just naturally conquers the stage or the field through sheer talent and willpower. It's a very comforting narrative.
It is. But
Yeah.
when you actually peek behind the curtain of the modern entertainment and sports industries, that raw human narrative starts to look incredibly staged.
Ooh, heavily staged.
Right. The mechanics of who exactly owns your attention are being radically rewired.
Mhm.
We're looking at a landscape of manufactured virality battling against corporate fortresses, and honestly, the sheer scale of it is just mind-bending.
It is the absolute definition of systemic illusion. Because what we perceive as individual triumph, like the song that spontaneously goes viral, or the athlete who seemingly defies time, is increasingly just the tip of a massive, heavily engineered iceberg.
And that brings us to our mission today. We're unpacking a massive stack of dispatches from the Inverse Wire, all dated Saturday, July 11, 2026.
It's quite a stack.
It really is. This is a truly fascinating snapshot of how culture, sports, and business actually operate right now. Our goal is to connect the dots between seemingly unrelated headlines to reveal the hidden systems of control, rebellion, and endurance that are shaping the media you consume every single day.
Because it touches everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you are a sports fanatic, a music lover, or just someone trying to figure out where the culture is heading, the concept of the superstar is fundamentally changing. So, okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with a bombshell article titled, "Pay No Attention to the Grand Wizard Behind the Curtain."
Oh, that headline. It perfectly captures the tension between the illusion of the artist and the machinery of the industry, because the article dives into 5 massive lawsuits currently exposing the deeply manufactured ecosystem surrounding Drake.
We are talking about allegations of systemic market manipulation here. Like, the lawsuits outline a coordinated machine involving rigged betting markets, massive volumes of bot streaming numbers to manipulate algorithms, and even hired chatters in live streams.
That was the craziest part to me.
Right. They are literally paying people to sit in digital rooms and lose their minds over a product just to create fake hype. It completely shatters the illusion of organic superstardom.
Yeah, and we have to juxtapose that fragile manufactured virality with the iron grip of the actual institutions running the show in 2026. Because while the public is distracted by the drama of a pop star's alleged fake chatters, legacy corporate power is consolidating at just a breathtaking scale. Consider the $14 billion merger between BMG and Concord.
Wait, 14 billion? With a B?
With a B. And that regulatory green light just forged music's 4th major label.
Wow.
It completely resets the incentives across publishing and recordings.
Yeah.
When entities that large merge, they aren't just combining catalogs, they are centralizing leverage against streaming platforms.
Right.
But even that massive merger pales in comparison to what's happening at Universal Music Group. UMG's board recently snubbed a $64 to $65 billion takeover bid from activist investor Bill Ackman.
Which is just an unfathomable amount of money to casually reject. Like, it really makes you wonder what kind of end game these executives are actually playing.
Well, what's fascinating here is why they rejected it. It's proof that the Baller family, the French billionaire dynasty that holds significant voting power over UMG, they refuse to give up their grip on the global music machine.
They don't want to let go.
Exactly. They don't need outsider cash because they're playing a generational game. These labels aren't just selling records anymore. They are locking in permanent global infrastructure.
Like real estate, right?
Yes. UMG is making a 22-year real estate bet in New York's Penn District. They are anchoring their power right inside a major transit hub.
That is wild.
And at the same time, they are executing a global Def Jam expansion, planting physical offices and scouting networks from Casablanca to Chengdu. So they are building a literal empire in physical space, not just chasing digital streaming charts.
You're playing a completely different game. Listening to how this machinery operates, I can't help but compare modern pop megastardom to those synthetic financial products from the 2008 housing crash.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison.
Think about how a collateralized debt obligation worked. You package up a bunch of low-quality, subprime assets in this case, bought streams, hired fans, algorithm hacks, engineered social media drama.
Right, the junk.
Exactly. You bundle all that together, you slap a shiny AAA rating on it in the form of a celebrity persona, and you sell it to the masses as this incredibly valuable, culturally relevant thing.
Yep.
Are we just consuming algorithmically engineered mirages, while the real power, the real untouchable wealth, just sits safely in family boardrooms in Paris and New York?
I mean, that is a highly accurate mechanical breakdown of the legacy system. It operates as a rigged, consolidated fortress. The goal is to extract maximum value from the public while hiding the mechanisms of control.
Right.
But history consistently demonstrates that whenever an impenetrable fortress restricts access to resources, a parallel economy eventually emerges.
Which is exactly where the independent creators enter the picture. Because if the legacy system is this lockdown castle, independent creators are out there building their own parallel power structures.
They absolutely are.
And the financial data from these dispatches backs this up in a huge way. Independent artists now own over 40% of recorded music revenue. 40%.
That's massive.
That is a fundamental structural shift in who gets paid for culture.
It really represents an entirely new architectural model for the industry. Builders are shifting away from traditional record deals and relying heavily on direct-to-fan distribution models.
Like United Masters.
Exactly. They are using independent platforms like United Masters, which functions less like a traditional gatekeeper label and more like a tech utility grid. United Masters wires up a revenue pipeline directly to Spotify and Apple Music, but the artists retain ownership of their master recordings. We are even seeing this indie infrastructure institutionalized in academia.
Wait, really? Academia?
Yeah. Syracuse University's Newhouse and Whitman schools have launched a physical production hub and an interdisciplinary minor specifically designed for the creator economy.
They're taking what used to be called the creator hustle, the unpredictable viral lottery ticket, and turning it into a formalized, durable career track with serious business training.
Precise.
They're teaching creators how to build their own distribution modes, so they never have to rely on a major label. But there is a massive new weapon in this war for independence, and it's artificial intelligence.
Oh, no. AI is the ultimate accelerant, and both sides are desperately trying to control it. The legacy labels want to weaponize AI to maintain their monopolies.
Right?
Just look at the May 2026 licensing pact between Spotify and UMG. They recognized that fans were using AI to remix songs and create their own covers.
Which used to be copyright infringement.
Exactly, but instead of fighting it, UMG turned those user-generated AI covers into a premium add-on revenue engine. They engineered a system where, even when fans use AI to create new iterations of a song, the revenue automatically funnels back to the major catalogs.
Wow. But, the creators aren't just rolling over. We're seeing a global artists' AI letter demanding strict consent models.
Yes.
More importantly, there's the Bipartisan Creator Act. This bill specifically targets the commercial-style theft of a creator's signature, likeness, or sound.
It's a big deal.
It forces brands and platforms to rewrite their licensing deals. It essentially creates a legislative shield against the corporate machine trying to clone an artist without paying them.
It's a fundamental battle over who owns the future means of cultural production. And what is particularly revealing is how certain massive figures navigate both sides of this war.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. There is a glaring contradiction in these dispatches regarding Drake.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Right. On one hand, we just broke down the lawsuits claiming he is this entirely manufactured hollow machine propped up by fake bets and bought streams.
Right.
But in the exact same week, the Inverse Wire is reporting on his unprecedented 3-album Iceman Weekend drop. And the analysis there hails this massive volume drop as the exact blueprint for breaking the label prison.
Yeah, the theory is that modern record deals dictate you have to deliver a certain number of albums.
Right.
So by flooding the zone with 3 albums in 48 hours, an artist fulfills their contractual obligations at light speed, monopolizes the algorithm, and effectively seizes their own empire back from UMG.
Which is insane.
It highlights the dual reality of modern megastardom. You can be a product of the corporate machine, elevated by its marketing spend and algorithmic manipulation. But once you reach a certain gravitational pull, you can attempt to use the machine's own mechanics against it. Scale and volume become the tools to buy your own freedom.
I look at that slightly differently, though.
Oh,
Yeah, like the legacy labels with their Penn District real estate and their billion-dollar catalogs operate like medieval kings sitting in these massive, intimidating stone castles.
sure.
The assumption has always been that to win the game, you have to siege the king's castle.
Yeah.
But creators are realizing they don't need to do that. They're just walking into the woods, digging their own distribution moats, and building totally separate, thriving villages using direct storefronts, paid memberships, and granular email lists.
That's a great analogy.
If indies already command 40% of the revenue by building outside the walls, the king's castle is starting to look a little obsolete, isn't it?
Well, from a market share perspective, the decentralized village model is absolutely winning ground. But the cost of running that localized machinery falls almost entirely on the human central processor.
The artists themselves.
Exactly. Whether you are battling the mega machine from the outside as an independent, or you are trying to sustain a massive empire from within the corporate walls, the psychological and physical pressure on the human being at the center of it is immense.
That's crushing.
And this exposes a vital, undeniable trend across the 2026 landscape. We are seeing the deep toll on human capital and the emergence of a new infrastructure of care.
This stood out to me so much in the reading.
Okay.
Because the entertainment industry seems to be finally moving past the performative lip service around mental health. It's actually getting institutionalized into the contracts. Yeah. UMG partnered with Amber Health to embed 24/7 mental health support directly into the industry's bones. MusiCares is funding major, data-driven clinical studies on tour burnout because the endless cycle of the road life is simply breaking people down at a molecular level.
We are witnessing a profound cultural shift in how biological limits are managed, and it's being modeled by the biggest stars on the planet.
Like Kendrick.
Yes. Kendrick Lamar's sweep at the B Awards was framed by critics not just as a musical victory, but as proof that addressing generational trauma is a lifelong, ongoing project, not just a neat narrative arc for an album cycle.
Right.
And Charlie XCX, right after achieving absolute cultural dominance with the Brat takeover, she actively chose to log off and step back from the digital scroll to reclaim her sense of self.
You see Noah Kahan doing this too, using his Busy Hit project to take his personal struggles with OCD and the isolation of fame and spin that into lasting funded infrastructure for mental health access in rural communities.
It's incredibly impactful.
And Billie Eilish is constantly modeling what it looks like to just survive under the immense crushing weight of being perceived by millions of people every second of the day.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are seeing is a redefinition of longevity. For decades, mental health struggles in entertainment were viewed as a detour from greatness, or a temporary weakness to be hidden.
Swept under the rug.
Exactly. Now, it is being recognized as the fundamental, non-negotiable infrastructure required to sustain greatness. You cannot run a billion-dollar multinational media empire if the human core at the center of it collapses.
Okay, but let me stop you there and ask a cynical but I think vital question for you to ponder.
All right, let's hear it.
Are these corporate mental health initiatives like UMG partnering with Amber Health to provide on-call therapists, are they driven by a genuine moral awakening? Or are they just preventive maintenance on biological machines?
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you are a massive record label, your artists are your primary revenue-generating assets. You wouldn't let $1 million server farm overheat and catch fire. You'd install a state-of-the-art cooling system. Aren't they just installing cooling systems in the artists' brains to ensure the streams, the tours, and the profits never stop?
It's a stark way to frame it, but from a purely systems analysis perspective, it is entirely plausible.
Right.
Corporate structures rarely adopt a moral stance unless it perfectly aligns with a financial imperative. The cost of a canceled global arena tour due to an artist's psychological breakdown is easily in the tens of millions of dollars, factoring in insurance, venue penalties, and lost merchandise revenue.
It's a massive financial hit.
So embedded mental health care is a highly logical risk mitigation strategy. The motivation from the boardroom might be purely financial, but the clinical benefit to the human being receiving the care is still very real. It's a complex, almost unsettling symbiosis between biological well-being and corporate profit.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that optimization of the human mind and body to extract maximum value isn't just happening in music, though. It has completely rewritten the limits of human endurance in sports.
No, entirely.
Advanced physical and mental care, combined with sheer, terrifying willpower, is allowing an aging generation of athletes to outlast the very systems that were built to replace them.
The statistical endurance of these legacy athletes in 2026 is staggering. They are defying the historical aging curve, forcing us to rethink the biological limits of a professional career.
Let me walk you through the mind-bending realities of 2026 sports from these dispatches. LeBron James is 41 years old.
41.
41. He is still topping the Time 100 most influential in sports list, and he is actively holding the entire NBA hostage in free agency with his contract demands. He's effectively collapsing the myth that the front office organizations hold all the leverage.
It's unprecedented.
And Lionel Messi's 39, and he's out there scoring hat tricks against Algeria and tying Miroslav Klose's all-time World Cup goal-scoring records.
Yeah.
Serena Williams is 44, and she is stepping back onto the grass at Wimbledon.
It's like time is standing still.
Right. Rory McIlroy is still relentlessly chasing his fifth major championship at Shinnecock, which is arguably one of the most brutal, unforgiving golf courses in New York. They just refuse to leave the stage.
They refuse to age out, but what is critical to understand is that while these individual legends remain fixed points, the systemic maps around them are drastically changing.
What do you mean?
They are operating in leagues that are undergoing massive structural chaos. The NBA, for instance, has achieved an unprecedented level of parity. They have crowned 8 different champions in the last 8 years.
Including the Knicks.
Yes.
After 53 years of absolute heartbreak, Jalen Brunson and the Knicks finally won the title. The Barstools in New York are full of stories that go way beyond just the final score right now. But how does a league suddenly achieve that level of parity after decades of dynasties?
It comes down to the mechanics of the collective bargaining agreements and the new luxury tax aprons. The financial penalties for hoarding multiple superstars have become so severe that teams are forced to distribute talent across the league.
So you can't just buy a super team anymore.
You can no longer buy a guaranteed championship. The environment is highly volatile. And we see a similar structural upheaval in soccer. The 2026 World Cup has expanded to a chaotic 48-team format.
Which completely rewrites the global power map.
It does, because a 48-team format means FIFA's broadcast and participation revenue is now flowing into smaller, previously marginalized footballing nations. That money accelerates their domestic infrastructure. And the tournament has landed in North America, and we are seeing the United States men's national team, the USMNT, reaching the knockout stages by beating Australia 2-0 and thrashing Paraguay 4-1. The global centers of gravity are literally shifting beneath the feet of these aging titans.
So what does this all mean? When I look at LeBron, Messi, and Serena operating in 2026, I see vintage, classic muscle cars.
Okay, I like that.
Like the chassis is old, it's got a massive amount of miles on it. But under the hood, they aren't running on carburetor engines anymore. They're running on hyper-advanced modern telemetry.
Yeah.
We are talking cutting-edge cellular nutrition, advanced sleep science tracking, institutionalized mental health infrastructure, and predictive tactical data. They are extending the absolute window of human capability right at the exact moment the leagues themselves are fracturing and expanding into new, chaotic shapes.
It is an incredible clash of eras. To synthesize everything we've looked at today, the July 2026 inverse wire dispatches reveal a world in profound structural transition.
Absolutely.
We are navigating a landscape where $14 billion corporate mega mergers and major label AI licensing lock-ins are actively at war with independent creator distribution grids. We are watching mental health transition from a stigmatized taboo to a recognized, heavily funded industrial infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we are witnessing a generation of athletes who possess enough capital, data, and medical care that they simply refuse to surrender to the passage of time.
And what we really want you to take away from this deep dive is that none of this happens in a vacuum. Every song you stream on your commute, every concert ticket you purchase, and every championship game you tune into is a node in this massive, invisible battle for control.
Right.
Your attention, your time, and your money are the territory they are all fighting over.
Which naturally raises an existential question about the future of cultural endurance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on the mechanics of everything we've explored today. If artificial intelligence can now perfectly synthesize the manufactured virality of a pop star, pumping out algorithmically optimized content without ever needing to sleep, and if human athletes and creators can now push their biological operating windows into their mid-40s and 50s thanks to hyper-advanced physical and mental infrastructure, are we approaching an era where the concept of fading away is entirely eliminated? If you accumulate enough capital and you plug your body and your brand into enough systemic support, Will you ever actually have to retire from the culture? Or are we entering the age of the perpetual immortal superstar, a hybrid of synthetic and biological machinery that simply never stops? Think about that the next time you hear a comeback story.